what are the biggest hurdles in adopting AI for visual content? And can technology truly balance speed, cost, creativity while driving sustainability? Welcome to Fashion Frames, the podcast where we explore how AI is reshaping the fashion industry. And today we have Claudia Vazquez as our guest, and I'm very excited about that because Claudia and I used to work together for several years. Claudia, you are now the 3D manager at VILA, and since we've worked together for a very long time, I know you've always been driven by your passion for innovation in the fashion industry. After studying fashion design and development in London, you started your career in pattern design. However, you always had this love for technology and innovation. So eventually you landed your role at VILA, which combines these two worlds in a very beautiful way. With more than 7 years of experience, I believe, working for garment suppliers and brands with 3D design, you have this extensive knowledge in making fashion processes smarter and more efficient. And you're always looking ahead, Claudia, and that's what I love about you. That's why I'm so excited to have you today as my guest on this podcast. So let's jump right in. I would like to talk a little bit about your professional background. AI is rapidly changing the way businesses approach content creation, right? But how did you get started in that exciting space?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me in the podcast today. It is actually so lovely to get to have this conversation with you as we used to when we used to work together. But yeah, so jumping right into it, how did I come across this space? I think since the beginning that I started already working with 3D, then I was kind of on it, in it from the beginning, right? So then I was just driven by what is there, what is new, how are things changing, and suddenly it's shaped from 3D to AI. Okay, here we are. We need to know more about it.
So can you share a little bit more about how you went into this visual content creation side of things, particular with AI-driven solutions?
Yeah, so I will say, as you also described, is not my forte or a specialist area to be in the content part. I'm more of a production girl on the processes of design and so on. But in truly honest, I always had like a big vision on what it is fashion in all of the different areas of the value chain. And of course, the content part, visuals, it is an essential part in order to support whatever what has been built on the back. So it was around the same time actually that I was studying that I remember having conversations with my dad about what was AI at that time, and this was 2017. And I think there was this study from a university in the US, I cannot remember right now which one, but it was like art by AI labs, something like that, where they were just this AI was creating new styles of art based on what we know as Picasso and Monet and so on. And that was also something that it was the first time that I saw what technology can actually create something within the terms of the traditional that is new, and that kind of drove me in general to what it is technology in the creative industry.
Yeah. But how do you work with AI nowadays in your day-to-day work?
Yeah. So in the day-to-day work right now, when it comes to visual, we are looking into or working more towards how can we bring an experience or showcase something that is completely new that we couldn't see imaginable before. So there is a lot of play of what you can do in social media, what it is short reels content of product focus that come to life in many different ways or can interchange. They have their own life. And the same as well when we are looking into what is the best way to showcase a product. So the use of models, the use of try-ons, really exploring a bit here and there. I couldn't say right now we just use it in a specific certain way.
Very
There is
versatile, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's more about being open. Let's try it on and let's see what we can find and where we land that fits our intentions or our view of how we would like to show a style or a product, and then how it also is received by the customer, right? On the other side, what are the reactions?
So you're still in this exploration phase, really, on how AI can help the business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think it is so difficult to say we have cracked the code, this is the way, and this is the only way for the coming X amount of years. I think even though AI indeed has been there for many, many years already, and also on the content creation, it is quite difficult per se to say how it's going to develop so more.
Yeah, it's moving super fast, but no one
Exactly.
knows where it's
No,
going. Yeah,
exactly.
I love
Yeah.
it. I would like to talk about the challenges a little bit because it sounds like this big dream AI is going to create content for all of us and it's going to be so easy, but there are challenges. What are the biggest hurdles businesses face in that space?
Well, I think to be very blunt on what it could be, where I see the biggest hurdles, it is cost, time, and opinions, actually, the demand of it.
Opinions.
Yeah,
What do you mean by that?
yeah. I think when it comes to content creation, it can be a lot of opinions. You know,
Okay.
you have an opinion that it is, of course, your customer, but or your consumer, but you also have an opinions within your creative space of development. Depending on the type of business, you can have a more controlled, let's say, tone, so then the opinion is only taken maybe directly from your target customer and your team. But if you have a business that actually sells to many different types of businesses, then you have a lot of more different opinions because
Yeah,
everyone
on the
has
B2B
something.
level, you mean
Yeah.
it's very difficult. Yeah, yeah,
So
I see that.
it depends on the type of business that you have. That I think you will have like different challenges, but definitely we are human, right? We have
Yes.
opinions.
I feel like personally, creating amazing, stunning AI visuals once, like on a day-to-day basis, very nice. I see a huge issue still in creating AI visual content at scale. How do you feel about that?
Now I'm very interested by your concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what I see when I talk to brands is the issue of consistency. So creating stunning AI visuals is very easy. You make a wonderful prompt, you get a great result. But how do you keep that consistency? Let's say you found a model look that you really like, and now you want to recreate that from different angles. You want to create a video out of it. I feel like AI still has a little bit of this inconsistency challenge, especially when you move to different angles. From the front view, it's usually very easy. But how do you make sure that that is then across all images?
Yeah, that is indeed a problem of consistency, I will say, but I also how does it really limit your scalability? Because it's also very
That's a
important
question to
to,
you.
yeah, because for me, as I see it, it depends on how you implement it or how you approach it. So what is the extent of your use and what is what you also expect from it? And what is expected from you to deliver? Because at the same time, like now you mentioned motion or back, that you want to match back and front.
Yeah, the
It's a,
shoulder view,
yeah.
I've seen many times that that becomes an issue to have the same model look from the front and shoulder view,
Yeah.
which some AI solutions I feel like work with pretty well at this point. Getting to 90% consistency is quite easy. Getting to 100%, that's where it really becomes difficult. But again, as you said, it's a question of the use case, right?
Exactly, because then I will say, okay, you have a front picture and a side one. Do you really need the side one? Do they need to be together? Maybe not. What is your use case? I think we need to really be aware of how to scale it in a reasonable and a manageable way. There is the whole topic about AI. Everyone is super excited, jump in, let's do everything at all at the same time. Then yes, there is going to be a million inconsistencies. But if you take it step by step, like first, be aware that now you have the possibility to do something that you weren't able to do before. So you have for example, the possibility to take model pictures to a scale or to an amount or a range of items that you couldn't do before. So that is already your win. That is your focus on scalability.
Exactly.
So maybe you just need the one picture per style. That's it. Don't push it yet.
I love your view on that because it's always this excitement that comes up. New technology is introduced, but we also need to manage expectations because it's an amazing tool and we shouldn't kill the solution by expecting too much of it. We should use it for what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I will also say, let's not be as demanding towards AI if we are not demanding towards traditional ways. Because, again, with the same example, picture one in front, one with the face turned to the shoulder. Also in real life, you will have inconsistencies. It doesn't mean there is anything wrong with the person, with the photo. It is just different. So I think many times we get our head into like, okay, because it is computer generated, it should be perfect. No.
Yeah. But it is solving real life issues, I believe. It is really solving business challenges. I would like to talk a little bit about the business impact of AI. Beyond the creative space, using it for design purposes, using it for campaign purposes, I think it can really be a game changer for the business strategy as well when it comes to visual content production. Can you talk a little bit more about what the impact of AI is on business strategies?
Yeah. Yes. So, first of all, I think it's very good that we are focusing it on the visual part because I think there is so much coming that it is quite difficult to pinpoint the full potential or impact of it. But when we are looking into the visual point of what AI can bring into a strategy, is actually, in my opinion, like the possibility to get closer to the customer, to get more transparent as well, or more specific or detailed about what are you actually selling. Give them more. It's about more.
Interesting.
Actually.
You're the first person I hear say that. Can you go a bit more in detail? I would love
Yeah.
to know more about how you
So
see this more aspect helping.
yeah, it's like the way that I see it, AI in a visual content is actually not necessarily replacing current or traditional ways. It is adding value. It is adding new things that we so far didn't see possible or could not afford in that sense. Yeah, of course, it's possible to get pictures of everything that we want and content for everything, but it is not really realistic if we want to have a profitable business. But now suddenly this is more closer to us. So it is
Yeah.
a reality that it is possible to create a specific content for a specific product for a specific target. So
Yeah.
this is where I think it has a huge value on the business strategies. It brings value. It brings value and knowledge and detail about what you are sharing that can feel closer to the person receiving it.
So this cost saving aspect is very important to you, I feel like.
Yeah, it is. It is important because I think right now, when we are in a change in all of the industries, let's say mass production industries, fast-paced industries, that we need to be more sustainable. And that means also that probably costs in certain areas of the business are going to go up because that is just the rule, the mandate for it, which is fair and reasonable. But that means also that many of the areas like visual content will be also affected by this shift on how are you putting your money or investing into your business. So therefore,
Interesting.
how can we save costs in an area that I can see could be affected from a world-changing way? Yeah.
Interesting. I think that's a very interesting view you have on AI and how it can help the business. I love that. I do know that with all of the new legislations coming up in Europe and the digital product passport, that brands are really under pressure these days. But I personally never really thought about this, just moving resources around to still keep the business profitable. So thank you for sharing that opinion. On top of that, when we think about model images, I know when we used to work together, we worked a lot with model images, looking at how we can combine 3D but also photography with AI. Tools like meta models, for example, how do you feel like that can help specifically?
Yeah, well, I think also it depends again type of business that you have. So if you have a business that is fully driven by B2C e-commerce, right? That is your only, let's wait, channel, then here you can have actually a lot of efficiency, not necessarily, nor necessarily um, replacing current photo shoots. That is, of course, on the choice of the business to do what they want to do. But you could bring more options. You can bring new backgrounds, new models. You can have more flexibility to target different audiences. Whilst if we are looking into a B2B type of business, for instance, here where I see a huge value of tools like meta models or FLixstock in that sense is that you can create a value of content before you are in the stage of going to the end consumer, right? The way, and this is maybe not everybody knows it as listeners, the way that B2B businesses work, not only in fashion, but in general, basically you sell products to different businesses, very straight into the name. But these different businesses, they also have maybe their identity, or they sell many different products from many different brands for maybe in a small village in the middle of France or Italy or anywhere in the world where they have a very specific type of customers. And therefore, they will only buy certain products that fits to what they know they will sell in their audience. Therefore, you need to, as a brand that is selling a product towards hundreds or thousands of different businesses like this, you need to have a wide range of products that you know is not going to make it till the end. But still, you need to make a presentation for them, make them justice, so they sell through, so they are relevant for those businesses. So therefore, if we take meta models here and then we create for the product that we are selling these model images, we can benefit for three different things. One is the added value. So before, in this type of business, you would not really invest in taking model pictures of products that you don't know if they're gonna be even produced. Two is to have the closeness to the market, to be able to customize or tailor more what you are selling and the content that you're selling to what is this need within that market, within that specific business. And three is the sustainability part also. How much smarter and reducing of need of samples you are creating? Because suddenly, if you want to sell these products without having to actually produce a vast amount of samples to sell, to bring or to showcase to these specific businesses, then you need content to make sure this can be sold without a physical style in your hand. So these are the three parts where I see it has a lot of value to have tools like this.
Yeah, I think what people underestimate is that when you have a lot of different showrooms, you're selling B2B, right? You need to bring samples along the way. That's the traditional way. You would bring one dress in 5 colors to all the different showrooms, let's say in Spain, in Portugal, in France. So in the end, you don't have one dress you're kind of carrying around to show to businesses. What you would do is you would produce 50 of the same dress and send them to these different locations. So now if you can sell by a picture, that's amazing, because then you don't have to send these samples. You don't have to even produce these samples. However, what I remember experiencing in some of my previous jobs is that in the past, these pictures were usually pack pictures, so just the garment without a model. You would send that to different people along the world and be, do you want to buy this? And we always got this response of, I need to see it on a model. But then creating these model shoots is probably even more expensive than just producing the dress 50 times.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to really visualize the dress without a model, so meta models can really help here. And on a beautiful model, as you said. So is it then a question of showing the same dress on different models even?
Yeah, I think that is what I see in the future
Mm-hmm.
as what makes sense, right? Because it is making it closer to what they understand as an audience, making it
Mm,
understanding. Like for them, it's like, will my customer buy this?
yeah,
Can I see her in this? Also, it's not only about different models, but it's also different stylings.
true, true. That's correct. But now we talked a bit about B2B, but when we talk about B2C, um, do you feel like there's also a future for more personalized content there as well?
Yes, and that is where I actually see it, right? When I mentioned this, as we started in this question, when you are on a e-commerce base, like only channel, yeah, stream for this type of content, of visual content, I don't necessarily think that it will disappear the traditional way of doing photo shoots, right? Just it is your package. You have it there. It is something that you will still be investing in most probably. But what you open up is for customization.
Yeah,
And that is, again, I come back into what AI I think it means or it brings into benefits. It is the added value. It's not
yeah.
necessarily replacing or cutting, it's adding uh, in value, in closeness to customers. And yeah,
I agree with you 100%. But then let's talk about the future a little bit more. Now we already tapped into that topic, but where do you see AI evolving in 5 to 10 years from now?
I could say something today and say something different tomorrow.
Oh, I always
feel.
ask this question, right? This is like one of the questions I
Yeah.
really want to ask everyone on this podcast. And Mihai and I made the little joke that we will see each other again in 5 to 10 years on this podcast, and then see, like, looking back, what we actually said and if it came true. So, just your personal prediction. Where do you see
Yeah.
AI in 5 to 10 years?
Well, I will hope to see AI in 5, 10 years to actually be a key implementation in all of the different
Mm,
workflows in any industry for that matter. I see it actually having it in a cooperation with current teams and ways of working. I don't see an overlap. Not necessarily. There might be some that I would like to do so. Fair. I really feel it as a complementary tool, similarly to how we have seen 3D also evolve, right? Where 3D has merged with also the real world, and then this is what is now kind of like, yeah, this is the trend for 3D, this is the way we do it. We mix. It is more edible also for a wider
mm,
amount of audiences. So I actually think AI may be moving into that area a little bit more. So it is a combined of things because again, yes, there is the opportunity to create new, to develop new that is completely unknown, but it is
mm.
also the opportunity to complement of what we know and feed each other. It still needs to learn from somewhere. So it is, I
Correct.
cannot really shape how it will look like, but I think it will be going a bit on that way. And for sure, I think it will remove some of the most tedious tasks.
Yeah, image editing is
Yeah.
something that came up lately a lot. That when you shoot pack pictures, you do a lot of editing and also model images, like making the skin more even. There's so many hours going into that. And that
Yeah.
can be done very easily with AI. And what that means for me personally is that a photographer or an editor can now focus more on the creative tasks and not sit with editing in Photoshop for
Exactly,
20 hours.
exactly. I actually will. I think when it comes to the visual part, we will
Hmm.
see a complete elevated outcome in
Hmm.
5, 10 years of what actually is the new norm of content for any company.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also will say as well, how I see it is as well on the customization part and also the shopping experience,
Yeah.
right? I think virtual try-ons have a very big play in the upcoming years on how they will shape how we buy online, how new generations buy online. It was, I think, to an extent, the AR try-ons still fun, still a very fun try-on, but it is not the real accurate
Mm.
thing that you want to go into a shop and do, right? So I think that will shape a lot how we shop online, being able to mix match styles into what it is our own customized or relatable model, in that sense that we will make a smarter shopping and also more tailored.
Yeah, personalized.
Mhm.
I agree with all of the things you said. It's going to be very interesting, the shopping part, as you
Mhm.
mentioned, to see, can I see a dress on my body shape, on my skin color, with my hair color, to kind of get an idea of how it would look on me, instead of just a model that I see online that I feel very detached from, right?
Yeah.
But that's a completely different topic, which we should do another podcast about
Yes, it is a
someday,
whole
Claudia,
podcast on
because
its
that is a
own.
whole topic on its own. I
Yeah.
would like to ask you for some practical advice.
Mm-hmm.
I heard from so many businesses who are new to AI or just get started that it feels so overwhelming, especially in the beginning, to understand the landscape, and then how do I start? Where do I implement it first? How do I implement it? There's the change management aspect. So, from your experience, what are the pitfalls to avoid, and where should brands start?
Well, I have to say, I am also one of those people that suffer from overwhelming on how to use AI. It is, I think, a natural feeling towards it because there is so much so new that then to just want to explore and dive into. But when it comes to actually making decisions, actually implementing, I will say what I have been learning in the last few months when it comes to how to approach it and implement it is actually to have involved from the beginning the teams which might fear the most by the change, by
Yeah.
the new adaptability. Because if you have them involved, you can also explain, have the narrative about it. It is not remove that fearness that actually builds a lot of resistance towards something new, towards a change. So have them involved from the beginning. Not only will benefit you as wanting to implement something
Mhm.
new, but it will also benefit the outcome of what you're implementing and them, because they will have an understanding, they will be involved, and they can give so much input and so much valuable knowledge into how to build something that is consistent and that is standardized to what it is known to work within those teams and those areas of the business.
As a last question, when you start experimenting with AI, what would be some tools you would recommend on a personal level, not as a business, but what did you start with? How do you get in touch as an individual with AI if you're scared of it, for example?
Well, think first touch was ChatGPT. I think is for everybody one of the main ones on the just text-based, easy arranging of ideas. Even it is a great tool for creatives as well. Really brief, straight to the point, what you have in your head going on. But when it comes to creating content, a specific content, yeah, I would say so far, I think Midjourney is one still the best out there. I would say also it is not the most user friendly, but still you can create. It just it's just great to really explore around a realm without limits.
Yeah.
Is also the good part of it, of this more, let's say, complicated or prompting styles of AI tools. The beauty of it is the error, in my opinion, because then it's really like, okay, this is completely new. This is something that I could never imagine for. So it's like, of course, then you learn about it, how to get what you actually want out of it. But don't limit yourself into, I really want this, so I want this. And if I don't get this,
Experiment with it, yeah.
yeah, because that is the beauty of it. It is learning something new. So if you go with this fixed idea of what you want, then you're not taking the most value of the tool. Then wait. Then don't explore. Then just wait until there is a formula for everybody to use. Yeah. Go and try, embrace the error of the prompt, see where it takes you. Yeah.
Embrace the error.
Embrace the error, yes.
That's the message. All right. Thank you so much, Claudia, for being on this podcast with me. It's been such a pleasure, honestly. I feel like you gave some amazing insights into how AI can help the business and also how to get started. So thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you so much. It was lovely to have this conversation with you. And hope we take it along with the different ones. As we just touch point, we have a lot of different topics that can be a podcast on its own.
That is true. AI is a huge topic
Yes.
with many different layers.